We are so excited that you are here. My name's Jennifer Myers.
And I'm Heather Allen.
My good friend, and we are just a couple of moms on a mission, honestly. We have been working together for a very, very long time. And actually, we hope that you are joining us with the Jumpstart Guidelines. And if you are, that means you are adding these Juice Plus to your diet, which is amazing because that is probably the number one health hack I can think of for you to do in your life. And just real quickly, we want to share our stories.
Yes.
I got started on Juice Plus. Gosh, I was in my late 20s. I'm not, 30 years ago. And I was super healthy at that time. I have been my whole life, actually. And you know what? I was juicing. I was also a vegetarian. I was exercising. And when I added Juice Plus, I couldn't believe that I actually had some results because I was living on fruits and vegetables. But what I realized later was, oh my gosh, I didn't have all this variety of fruits and vegetables. So I started noticing things like my shoulders were doing better as a swimmer. I was sleeping better, which I've had sleep problems since I was a kid, literally. That got better. I stopped bruising. I mean, that's kind of an interesting one, right? And I started having even more energy than I had. And it was really a head scratcher for me that it made such a difference in my life. But, it's interesting just to back up for a second because I grew up super healthy. Garden, farm fresh food. My mom would buy meat and dairy straight from the farm, right? And when I went to college, that's when everything went, right? I started eating like everybody else. And so it was later that I got interested in nutrition and said, this was such an amazing find. And tell us a little bit about
Well, I am so glad that you shared Juice Plus with me. And I know I was one of those skeptical people. And it didn't take, I think it took you about 5 years to convince me that Juice Plus was actually that great. But I'll tell you, I had a health scare. When I delivered our daughter, I lost 3 liters of blood and had 2 blood transfusions. And when you go through something like that, I had to see a hematologist oncologist. And it was really, really scary. He went from monitoring my blood levels daily, weekly, monthly. And when I took the plunge, Jennifer had told me about Juice Plus. I went ahead and started. And about 4 months into taking it, I was blown away. He came and he's like, what are you doing different with your diet? And I was like, the only thing that I've changed is these fruit and vegetable capsules. And he was very familiar with Juice Plus. And he's like, is it Juice Plus? And I'm like, you know about this? He said, for as much blood as you lost, it really takes about a year to recreate itself. And he's like, Heather, your blood levels, your hematocrit, your hemoglobin plate levels are tripling in their counts. I was blown away. So then I called Jennifer and I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe these results. They were just amazing for me. And it gave me confidence to go on to have more kids. And we're going to be talking tonight, literally about how plants can be medicine. And Hippocrates says, let food be thy medicine, let medicine be thy food. And there's so much meaning behind that. And I'm just so excited because we have such a fun event tonight with our Fire Cider, and you're going to teach me.
Yes, I am. Here's Fire Cider. Have you guys learned about Fire Cider yet? Oh my gosh, we're going to get to this in just a second. But I want to talk for just a minute about plant medicine. Okay, plant medicine. I am a geek. I mentioned that I had a garden growing up, right? Well, my parents did. We weren't around the garden much as kids, let me tell you. It's like, but I love gardening and I've always had a garden. And when I had kids, well, I still have kids, but when they were little, I always had gardens because I wanted them to know where their food came from. And this is a couple of books. For instance, this is medicinal plants. This is the Lost Book of Herbal Remedies. I have things like this. I just like to grow things. And I really look at plants as medicine. And as a matter of fact, it's funny because, when people talk about their social media is like, oh, so controversial and all that, I'm like, my social media is full of gardening and how to make compost and how to, grow things that are medicinal. That's what I love looking at. So typically when I see things like that, I'll be like, oh, I'll look it up and go, can I grow that here? Can I grow that in Denver? Can I grow that in Florida? And so I've done that. I have so much medicine in my yard. You would not believe it. I mean, echinacea, I have herbs, I have raspberries, which you think, oh, raspberries are great to eat, but guess what? Raspberry tea is good for you too.
Yeah.
It's great for pregnancy, which we don't have to worry about that. But just women's health, all kinds of things. You can make a tea out of that. I have a pine tree in my yard that's like the 5-needle pine. And I knew it was special when I bought that pine tree. It's like super soft. I was like, this is the one I want. Well, guess what? It's super medicinal. My friend Linda, who's way into this, when she comes over, I'm like, feel free to take a branch with you.
Wow.
Right? Well,
That's amazing.
do you guys remember when that certain virus was, everywhere, and they were talking about pine needle tea?
Yes.
That was one of the things that was suggested. I'm like, yep, it's in my yard. So it's really interesting to look at plants that way. And a couple of examples from my garden this year, I grew lemongrass because we like Asian food. And I took all of the big leaf things, stocky things, see how technical I am? I'm a really good gardener, by the way. Anybody can do this. And so I looked up medicinal uses for lemongrass, and I took all of those and I chopped it all up. And this is helpful, you guys, for anxiety, for rheumatism, for colds, cough, diabetes, epilepsy, fever, all of that. And you just make a tea with that. I also had a bumper crop of celery. I had like, oh my gosh, the tops were huge. This whole thing. I'm like, I don't want to throw that away. So I stuck in the oven, dried it, put it in here, put in my Vitamix, chopped it up, added salt. So I have my own homemade celery.
Yeah, and I smelled that.
It's
It smells
amazing,
so good.
right?
Yeah.
So you guys get creative in your kitchen and in your garden and in your yard. And the same thing, you guys, obviously, for fruits, vegetables, and berries. And that is why we love Juice Plus so much. And I want to show these to you. I know you can't read these, don't get frustrated. But this is the power of what's in Juice Plus. These are all the fruits in Juice Plus. These are all the veggies in Juice Plus. And if you could read these, this is all listing out just benefits of these things. Cabbage, detoxifier, good for the heart and the liver, protects, age-related macular degeneration, builds bone density, all of these things that we know, the fruits and vegetables, and these are the berries, and these are our omegas. It's incredible. And for me, like, this is the why, right? This is why we do what we do. Yeah. It's so exciting. So we're going to be talking, just bring this a little bit further, about really building your immune system. Yeah, so important these days. And by the way, Juice Plus has 5 immune system studies, I believe. Incredible. So good. We also love sharing.
I know. We've been so passionate about sharing this lifestyle and flooding your body with fruits and vegetables. And this community just has such great sources for really incorporating lifestyle changes, lifestyle guidelines, right? And I know a lot of us are doing that jumpstart into better health. And so following guidelines is such an integral part when you're doing something like this and creating those healthy stacking habits. And whatever program you're doing, just to incorporate more fruits and vegetables and looking at food as medicine is so important. I know about a couple years back, I went through real hardship where I ended up losing both of my parents within a 9-month window. And it was sad. I really lost myself. I lost my health picture. I really wasn't eating right. I wasn't eating enough. My blood sugars were out of whack. My liver enzymes were off. My good cholesterol was bad. And I just reached out to Jennifer and I'm like, I feel lost. And I'll tell you what, this community got me back to where I started when I said yes to all of this, just saying yes to good health. And I'll tell you what, I jumped in and 6 months ago, I was probably 35 pounds heavier, and just incorporating more fruits and vegetables, really healing my body, doing the guidelines, cleaner eating, going off the shopping list, really drinking more water, getting good sleep. Those are all important things to good health and to get you on track. So I'm just really excited what Juice Plus, the plants have done. There is a lot of power in good food. So,
So
yes.
good. So, okay, love that story.
Thanks.
And I've loved watching you. I mean, these last 6 months, every time I saw her, I'm like, Heather, oh my
Yes,
gosh,
and exercise,
right?
Gym.
It all works.
Yeah.
So now we are going to make one of these babies, okay?
I'm
And yes, and there is a recipe circulating around. Mine's a mess, but hopefully the person who invited you on has gotten you the recipe. If not, they can get this to you digitally. No problem. And this is an immune system tonic. That's what I want you to think about, is this is really boosting your immune system, and then a whole lot of other things, because that's what plants do. So this is literally the hottest trend going, right? As you're going to see, and it's going to be fun doing this.
Yes.
One thing I want to say right up front, you guys, that recipe is, it's just a suggestion. You can't mess this up. Okay. It's super simple. It does not have to be perfect at all. There's lots of versions out there. I like to make it from fresh ingredients. I have seen some versions that like where you just use spices out of your spice drawer. But here's the thing about that. If you have loose spices or plant powders or anything like that, and what breaks that down? Heat, time, oxygen. So with our Juice Plus, they're in capsules, which is a barrier to that oxygen and everything. So you really want them to be in capsules. But for this, I like to go fresh, but you can really do either. Okay. You can't mess it up. So hopefully you have a mason jar. Yes. Here's ours. And I forgot my apron.
Yeah, your apron. You got to bring your apron. I'll
put mine on too. I'll put my apron on.
All right.
Okay, I have to tell you, this apron I made for my grandmother in junior high home ec class. And when she passed, it came back to me very worn. There's some stains on here.
There's turmeric on it.
Yeah, exactly, which made me really happy. I'm like, oh, she used my apron. So I'm putting that on in honor of my grandmother. I don't think she made this, but that's okay. Okay, so your mason jar. I think mine, you know what? I don't know how big this is. 2 pints, 3 pints. Okay, then we're so good. Yes. So you're gonna start there. And then you just start adding the ingredients. So starting with onions. Yes. So you put 1 full onion in there. And one thing I want to mention about this, you guys, is these onion skins. So onions are high in quercetin. Lots of plant foods are, lots of things in Juice Plus are, but onions are particularly high, and particularly the onion skins. So all of this is going in the jar because we're going to strain it. And by the way, like you can save your onion skins and put them, like if you're cooking rice, just throw them in there and then you'll take it out. You don't eat them, but all that is going into your rice or in your broths or something like that. You strain it out. Let's stick that in. Okay, next, lemon. We have lemon. That's 1 lemon. Super high in vitamin C. Of course, there's great antioxidants in there. Also helps your body make collagen. The vitamin C. So lots of things there. We also have a lime, great for kidney stones even. That's one of the great things about that. We have this delicious orange that I want to eat really bad.
Good vitamin C, vitamin C.
So good. And you guys, you know what? This is kind of interesting because, you know, when I mentioned in my story that my bruising stopped, I used to bruise so bad. It was so ridiculous. Sean would be like, oh my gosh, people are going to think I'm, hurting you because I bump into something I wouldn't even know what and end up with this really horrible bruise. Well, I read later that this white part, the pithy part that all of your kids want you to get every scrap off of, turns out that is particularly good for blood vessels. So I think that's why I stopped bruising, because before I wasn't eating the orange skin and the white part. But now I am, because it's in my Juice Plus. Okay, then we have jalapeno. So we've got 2 jalapeno peppers.
Metabolism.
Right, metabolism, but also, the heat, the capsicum is really, really good for cough, for sinuses, all kinds of things like that. And cultures all around the world, if somebody feels like they're getting sick, they eat the hottest peppery thing that they can get down. And that's why, it's really, really good. And by the way, many of you on this call know Elton DeBose.
Yes.
And Elton taught me when my kids were little to make a hot toddy. Like if anybody was getting sick, and it's like his grandmother's recipe for a hot toddy, which actually had bourbon, but it gets hot, and so the alcohol does go off.
Yes.
But then you put in lemon, you put in cayenne pepper and honey.
Damn.
And I'm telling you what, that stuff was good.
My mom used to make that for me when I was sick, which is great.
That stuff works. All those wives' tales,
I
right?
know.
Okay, next is horseradish. So if you guys don't know, this is what raw horseradish looks like, big old root. And Heather's got it graded here. So all kinds of benefits from horseradish. I could go on and on about this. Circulation, it breaks up mucus and congestion. It's great for digestion, all of these things from horseradish. Okay, next is turmeric.
Oh my gosh, turmeric is so good for you. In fact, my husband, when he has joint pain, on top of, what Juice Plus really helped him with his joint pain. But I'm telling you, when he has flare-ups, turmeric. Yeah. Turmeric really helps with any kind of joint pain. It's awesome.
Oh, we're getting full.
I'm gonna kind of.
I had a big onion.
Yeah, she had a really big.
You guys know that training, you got to put your big rocks in first, right? Into the jar.
Well, that's clearly
the big stone, so that then you can put the little things in. So start with your onion, because we would have started with the other stuff.
Yeah, I don't think we would have gotten that in.
Okay, so turmeric and then garlic. So we're doing a full head of garlic, and we cut it so that all of this is exposed, but we're not peeling it again. You don't have to, because we're going to strain it.
Some of these other little ones right here.
Okay, next is black peppercorns. Okay, and again, because we can sprinkle these on.
Yes. And that's just like a handful, they said, of this. So,
and talk about, synergy of food. One of the great things about food, you guys, is the synergy that happens, that this ingredient is helping that thing, and this helps this, and it works together beautifully. And pepper is that way for garlic and turmeric. Pepper actually helps you absorb all of that better. It makes your garlic and turmeric better for your health, right? Okay. Kind of interesting. You just never know. It's like the wisdom of God, right? We put it all. One of my favorite things, Dr. Smokey Santillo, who's the one who created Juice Plus. I remember in the early days standing next to him, and somebody came up at a conference and asked him, "What do you think is the best thing in Juice Plus?" And he said, "Probably something we haven't even discovered yet." Wow. Right? That's so powerful, and it's so true, because we don't even know what all this stuff does. We just know it works.
We figure, just like in an apple, there's over 10,000 nutrients. So everyone has their story, right?
Totally. Okay, what else? We have cinnamon. There's the cinnamon stick. A couple of those. Yes. Anti-inflammatory, great for insulin resistance. It's great for gut health. So you guys, any one of these things is good for you. But what we're doing is, the whole enchilada, right? Yeah. So what we do now, this baby is full. Oh, there's the rosemary. And I grew this, by the way. This is my rosemary that I grew. I love growing rosemary. Just picked it. It smells so good. And ginger. Did I miss those?
You got ginger in there too.
Anyway, okay. So there's all the things. So now what you do is you top it with apple cider vinegar.
And I'll tell you what, apple cider vinegar has so many healing attributes on this. Hopefully I just don't overthrow it. I had one of my kids that actually ended up getting stepped on his toe, and he ended up getting an ingrown toenail. I know that sounds horrible. And we literally had heard from somebody that apple cider vinegar, and make sure organic. We put it in a tub with a little bit of water, stuck his foot in there. The next day, the swelling went down. He had no pain, and it healed within a day. It was crazy. So again, the healing aspects from using all these.
So there you go. And then what you do, oops, I didn't get the parchment paper. As you guys,
it's pretty.
Oh, well, that's got to be good for you, right?
It has to be. It has to be.
So then what you're going to do, and I forgot to get it out. Oh, no, I can't get this out. Oh, there we go. Because this has been sitting for 4 weeks. You put parchment paper between the lid, right? So that it doesn't, get funky. Okay. So this is This has been doing its thing for 4 weeks, and you shake it, every day. Just sit it out on your counter and shake it every day. You want to make sure that the apple cider vinegar is covering all of it. If you have some of it exposed, if it's only partly going up, then you would need to put it in the fridge. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to switch carefully. Here, I'm going to hand you that. Okay. I'm going to strain it with this in a bowl. Okay, here we go. Actually, do you want to hold that? Okay, here we go.
There we go. Look at that.
So now we're straining all of this good stuff
Look how
out.
big that jalapenos are.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
They get bigger. That's crazy. Wow,
Okay.
this has got to be good. It's got to be good.
Okay.
You can smell.
You can smell it. So now
Mhm.
you can smell it. Okay, so now you have this amazing mixture here. And then you can add honey. So honey to taste. You don't have to, but it's better, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a lot
I
better.
think it's a little bit more soothing on your throat.
It is, exactly. And so what I did, so for instance, this is one that I already had in my fridge. This one's got a little bit of honey in it. And I do want to say something too about honey, because we could talk all day about the healing benefits and the health benefits of honey. It is so good for you. Look it up, because we don't have time to even go over everything that honey does for you. And so we had an event not long ago here. And this gal was an artisan bread maker, and she was a beekeeper. And so she was teaching us all these things about honey. And one thing that I want to share with you is not to buy runny honey. I made that up, by the way.
Runny honey.
So if your honey's runny, it's probably got some things in it that does that. When you buy really good honey, it's kind of solid. And so that's why I have the honey in here, because I was warming it to make it liquid.
I've actually heard with honey too, that it's good to buy local.
Always try to buy local. You guys, it's one of those things. You know how olive oil is getting, what am I trying to say? It's like counterfeit. I don't know. Yeah, they're not good people who are doing olive oil and making it sound good, and it's not good. And the same thing's happening with honey now. And they even sometimes have local honey that's from China. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess it was local in China.
Yeah.
It's not local here. So get to know where your local honey is. And oftentimes if you go to a garden center, my chiropractor always carries honey. A little great Greek restaurant near me, his wife has honeybees, and I buy his honey. And so I buy local. And if you do that, it actually helps you with allergies from your area, because those bees are in your area on those flowers and everything. And somehow when it gets into honey, it's healing for that. So, okay, what we're going to do now is a toast. If I can find our little glasses. Oh, here's there. We have got a mess here, you guys. So I'm going to use this one because it's already done. So here is, there's one. Okay. Oh, that was a lot. I'm going to give that one to you.
There we go.
All right.
Okay.
Here's to a toast.
Here's to a toast. And you know what? I definitely suggest puckering up for this one.
Here's the toast. God gave us everything we need.
Yes. I think that's
Woo, it's hot.
yeah. Whoa, boy, that's hot.
And you know what? You can monitor your jalapenos. If this is hot. I had a lot of jalapeno in mine. So
The temperature's going
right. It's so good for you.
So I'm telling you, anything that tastes like this, it's actually pretty good. It's pretty pleasant.
I actually like it.
It has to be good for you.
No, it does.
It really does. It's really good.
You can also do other things with your fire cider. And again, look that up. I looked up a recipe for salad dressing at Thanksgiving. I made my Thanksgiving salad with a recipe that used a couple tablespoons of my fire cider, which was fun because then I gave everybody a shot of fire cider too. All right. Thank you guys so much for showing up. I hope you learned some things. I hope you just have more renewed excitement about plants, about healing with plants, about Juice Plus, about Fire Cider, and everything that we can do to strengthen our own health. That's what this is all about.
Absolutely. Here's to your health, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Cheers.
Cheers.